I will just acknowledge a couple of things that are happening in the chat as well. There are people
Penis.
saying that, oh, I
Sorry,
get penis.
penis.
There are people in the chat saying that sometimes their chats aren't going through, that they're getting an error. I would imagine that that's on YouTube's end. I
Nothing
would
to do with
imagine
us.
that their comment servers are getting absolutely crushed at the moment.
Yeah, true.
The other thing is we have some visitors to our channel. This might be the first time that they're attending. A lot of their comments aren't getting through the auto moderator.
Right.
Because they're not very clever.
And by auto moderator, we don't mean there's a literal person. We mean that's the YouTube algorithm that is set to not let various themed chats get
usually
through.
Just means you come in being way too hot, way too offensive, dropping some pretty spicy words in there, and you just won't get through. It doesn't make me break a sweat. I don't have to do a damn thing.
Well, no, but look, let's just address that after Penis says sad day for America on the super chat. Thank you for that. Because this is what it'll be all about. Let's put Cress's comment up. Thank you for the super chat. Hope you guys aren't coping too hard or coping too hard. Cope. Don't worry. One day a girl might be president. This is the thing that's always fascinating, especially in New Zealand. I don't know about you, Chewy, but the election result in America is not going to impact my life one iota. Like, it's not going to impact my day-to-day life at all. What it will do, though, for a lot of people in America, is impact their life. Vulnerable people, migrants, minorities. So the idea that we're coping like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to live past tonight because he won. It's like, that's not the story. And that's not the situation. In fact, we said last night, although, as I said before, we were saying we thought Kamala would probably win based on a lot of advice from Americans. But we also, of course, said, but we don't know. You know, the last time that the less popular, and by popular I mean in the polls, candidate won, the only time since the 1950s was Donald Trump. And once again, the less popular candidate, according to the polls, has won, and it's Donald Trump. So, you know, and it also appears that we were talking about the herding of election results. That looks like that maybe wasn't a thing, because the results haven't come out with a massive swing. They're a lot closer than perhaps people were thinking. So just so you know, I personally am not coping. That sounds weird. When I'm saying I'm not coping, I mean like in the sense of the slang use of the term. I think it's a really ridiculous decision. And all you had to do, if you knew nothing about the election and all you did was got Donald Trump's speech about an hour ago, you'd be like, who is this fucking moron? Like, if that's all you saw of the whole thing. And I'll say this, right? And this is what I'll say for you people who want to have a crack. Come back in 12 months, because we said this about National Party getting in. And we said what would happen, and we said who would be impacted, and guess what? We were right. National got in through their coalition. They are the rightful government. Donald Trump appears that he's going to be. I think there are like a 1% chance or whatever. It's very, very unlikely, but the rightful winner over there. And you know what? It's going to be terrible for a sector of America. It's going to be terrible. And straight away, what we hear is, Trump said this in his speech, we are going to pay down debt and we're going to give huge tax cuts. It's not how it works, dude. You can't do both things. You need more money to pay down debt, or you grow your debt with less money. Donald Trump, statistically speaking, with what was achieved and where the economy was left, was the worst president the US has had. And they've just elected him again. And remember, like I said the other night, I think it's Thomas Jefferson, America, you get the government you deserve. And you know what? You deserve him. You deserve fucking Robert RFK Jr. to be in charge of making America healthy again. The dude who doesn't believe in vaccines, the dude who has literal brainworms, he's going to be making the policy. It's like you couldn't write this. This script would not be made. It's too far-fetched. He's the guy that's going to be making decisions for America around their health services, Joey.
Look, as far as that comment goes, right? I love it. I've seen so many of these comments this evening of like cope and seethe coming from Trump supporters. Trump supporters like the ones that coped and seethed so hard they did a coup
Yeah.
when they lost. Are we seeing an armed insurrection from Democratic voters at this stage?
No, not there will be. There will be. Look, there will be violence here and there. There will be isolated things that happen in the streets, without
Yeah,
question.
but
Like in
but will we
America,
see January
no,
6th
no.
in
In
blue?
America,
No, we won't.
when the sports team, your favorite sports ball team, wins their event, NBA, NFL, that when they win the championship, they riot and turn cars over. So there's going to be violence on some of them, but as Chewy's saying, there'll be nothing to the level that happened when the orange man decided to instigate his followers to go in and try and steal the election.
Yeah, it's fine if you think that Trump is the pure distilled version of masculinity that you want to echo. A 70-plus-year-old man that shits himself.
Here's the other thing. JD Vance will be the president within the next 4 years. Donald Trump is too old and too unhealthy. I don't think he will make the 4 years. And I'm not saying anything nefarious like they're going to take him out. I don't think he will make the 4 years. JD Vance is going to be the president at some stage. Here's a text message that was sent out by, I'm not sure who this person is, but this is...
I was going to put that one up too.
But this is, all these stats are accurate. He was the worst president in history. And when he got voted out, he tried to stage a coup. Then he stole national secrets and sold the ones he didn't store in the bathroom. He was convicted of fraud, found liable of sexual assault, and convicted of 34 felonies. He has $500 million in debt, owned by God only knows who, and the biggest national security risk in the nation has ever had. But at least he's not a black woman.
I mean, again, coming back to that comment, the very fact that Kamala, you know, how old is she? She's
60
plus.
60.
60-year-old woman called a girl. and somehow the comment of like, oh, one day a girl will be president. Like so many countries have elected female leaders for decades, and America still can't get over that. Like it's ridiculous. This is, and as far as your quote there, you know, America gets the government it deserves.
Yep.
I have a problem with that. There are a hell of a lot of people in New Zealand, in this America. That's the country we're talking about. In America that are getting the government that they do not deserve.
No, but the reason they say that text, right? The reason that rings true is always on the left. People don't participate like they do on the right. As of right now, he's leading in the popular vote. As of right now, he was about 3 million ahead.
That is
so if you don't participate, and it was like 63 to 68 million, right? That's like 130 million people out of 337 million people. Now, obviously, some of those are under 18, but the reason you get the government that you deserve is that if you don't participate, then it's partly on you. So I don't agree with you, Chewy. There are plenty of people who are sitting on the left who didn't want this to happen, who also didn't participate, and they got their non-participation gave them the result that they deserve, which sounds horrible.
Look, the Democratic Party is going to thrash this out for probably years to come. I think there are some real consequences here. My first thought went out to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because for all the criticism we have of Biden's administration, they put a lot of backing into Ukraine. Not enough, but a lot. Trump will try and make them capitulate. And in my opinion, the government, the EU, or all the European nations are going to need to stop umming and ahhing and really ramp up what they can provide to Ukraine, because the supplies from the US are going to dry up. You've got a country there that's fighting for its existence, And for a lot of the last couple of years has been doing it with one hand behind their back, because the stuff that they're getting from America comes with conditions, because they don't want to escalate things. Trump's not going to care about that. He's going to cut off the taps. Elon's going to help him.
And what about Israel? That's the other thing. Gaza?
Yeah.
Are we saying goodbye to Gaza?
Yeah. So there's not a single person on the Trump side of things that gives a single solitary shit about anything in that region apart from Israel. They don't care what they do. Netanyahu's already congratulated them on the win. Like it's fucked.
Elon
Musk from a foreign policy point of view, like foreign leaders apart from Kim Jong-il, Putin, Viktor Orban, have all gone, God help us if Trump gets back in, because the geopolitical scene will be fucked. Last time round, at least he had foreign policy advisors and military advisors that wanted to be part of it because they were Republicans, and they thought, well, look, I don't like the guy, but at least I'll be the adult in the room. And they've all stood up and said, never again, we can't let this guy back in. So all the adults in the room are gone now. Who his pickers for Joint Chiefs of Staff or foreign policy positions and that sort of thing. He's talking about giving Elon a fucking cabinet position.
Yeah, but the thing, what Elon is now talking about, it sounds like a little bit like what they made up for David Seymour, the Office of Regulations of this, that, and the other. Elon has said there's going to be hard times coming ahead. He's actually already talking austerity. The richest man in the world is talking austerity for people to make it hard. But here's the other thing, Chewy, and I just thought about it again when I saw Fox News. I can't find it now. Here, right there. Republicans gain Senate. So the other thing is, Republicans may very well have the White House, the Senate, and the Congress, and that Supreme is like, and the Supreme Court now, plus probably two other Supreme Court nominees during his term, which will make it a conservative, pretty far right, further right Supreme Court for the next 50 years. So it's like, when Labor here had that majority through COVID, and they could have, if they wanted to do anything they want, that's potentially what the next 2 years are going to be. Normally the midterm elections is a revolt against the incumbency, but certainly for the next 2 years, they can quite literally do almost anything they want, including instigating a whole bunch of laws and stuff that makes it easier by gerrymandering for Republicans to continue to win. That's what the next 2 years is going to be. And now we all get to read is it 600-page document called Project 2025? It's terrifying, man.
Yeah, I think a big part of this is like, so they haven't even got the excuse that we've got, right? That our elections are not about the Prime Minister, they're about the party. This was the presidential elections. People went and saw all of Trump's words and actions. They even had his previous term as evidence of what it was going to be like.
Yeah,
and they weighed that up against the opposition. And like I'm looking at, you know, my US-based friends on social media. I won't name them, but I'll highlight them. One of them was saying that they're as bad as each other because every politician's a crook. So I'm going to stay home, wank, and smoke in the hot tub. You know, there are people that are not part of the process. They think it's all crooked. But at that stage, he was weighing Trump and Kamala as equally bad. And objectively, I'm not there with them.
No, wait.
Another friend of mine had real issues with Kamala just being put on the ballot without any sort of primary, without any sort of vetting. Maybe that would have been different if Biden, you know, just did his term and gave her more of a runway, gave people more of an opportunity to get to know her. Maybe if there was a primary process, if there was enough time for that. But that turned him right off voting.
And that's you know what? That is a valid criticism. But now this is the downstream effect of being angry about that and maybe not participating. This is the downstream
and if I was in that position, I agree with him. That is a valid thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to hold your nose and just do it. Sort it out afterwards. We have talked at length about the huge problems with the system that America has. I think this is just a symptom of the erosion of some of the things, the processes and the organizations and the checks and balances that America built into its political system and have steadily been eroded since the 1980s. Like there's a very long-term plan at play here, from right-wing elements in the US to stack the deck.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. Like on the left, you try and take the high road as much as possible, but meanwhile, other guys are stacking the deck over the terms of decades. Like it wasn't enough. Like people are criticizing Democrats for welcoming Republicans to vote for Kamala and putting them up. That should have been a warning to people. Like if people are choosing country over party, and the people that were doing that, that should have been a warning. So now we've had 4 years of a barely coherent businessman who has bankrupted every company he's ever run,
yep,
including 2 simultaneous casinos, who wants to leave NATO, leave the UN.
Might have been 3, just quietly. Might have been.
Jesus. Who is a convicted felon. Like, that's what's right. Like, they put off sentencing him because of the election.
Yeah.
It's like they have chosen. And we haven't even got what we hoped for, that he definitely won't win the popular vote. It looks like he has.
Well, I think
crazy.
There will still be a flood of votes being counted overnight, and there are a lot of the early votes. So he may not. That's still up in the air. I know during his speech he said, "And I won the popular vote, never before." But wait till tomorrow to see what the story is with that. He may not. Not that fucking matters in that ridiculous system, but he may not. Let's just do some of these chats, because some people have messaged us quite a ways ago. Peter says the new media are partly responsible in cultivating rage bait and platforming polemists. How do you say that one? Polemists.
Yeah,
that's what I'll go
I'd say
with.
that.
The left, I don't know what a polemicist is. The left must find ways to counter this with more appealing alternatives and not simply amplifying the right. Kiwi Bird says, I will never understand the American median voter.
The undecided voter.
Yeah.
How can you be undecided?
Kiwi Bird goes on to say, we've had enough America for one day. Sorry, dude. This is what we're doing for the rest of the show, which is only going to be a few more minutes. We need to use the USA election results as motivation to fight back against this coalition. Don't roll over, stand up. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Chris says, my poor American wife drowning her sorrows in wine. Yep, I'm feeling you. Ryzen's got an idea though. What if Kamala refused to certify the results? That's what Trump said that Mike Pence could have done, eh? So if Mike Pence could have done it, then I guess that means Kamala can do that. Peter says, we need a skilled and competent negotiator to navigate the next 4 years, sadly. We have Luxon. And then David sent us a super sticker. You were talking about, and it made me think about a clip from tonight from the live daily show. 2.5 minutes of Jon Stewart wrapping up, I guess, the day for us.
Here's what we know, is that we don't really know anything, and that we're going to come out of this election and we're going to make all kinds of pronouncements about what this country is and what this world is. And the truth is, we're not really going to know shit. And we're going to make it seem like this is the finality of our civilization and this and thing. We're all going to have to wake up tomorrow morning and work like hell to move the world to the place that we prefer it to be. And I just want to point out, just as a matter of perspective, that the lessons that our pundits take away from these results, that they will pronounce with certainty, will be wrong. and we have to remember that. If you're in 2008, when Barack Obama won,
there's no question that this is the beginning, the first election of the future, really. And I think we are moving towards a post-racial America.
Jeez. The other thing about Obama, I'll play the rest of it. The other thing about when Obama won, he won the young vote, he won the black vote, and he won women. And I said back then, Republicans aren't going to get in for decades. If the Dems have got women, youth, and the black vote sewn up, Hispanic vote as well maybe, then it's all over. And just what I've learned from this is we really didn't do predictions. In fact, even when we had some commentators on, like Sam Cedar the other week, asked him the question, and he said, I do not know. But yeah, I'm going to be far less likely to engage in a prediction in the future. Not that we've really done that, but this is mind blowing.
Yeah, that lasted a day. And then, of course, in 2012, Obama won again. And the lesson was,
the GOP needs to send a powerful signal to Hispanic voters that the party respects them.
that was that was the lesson they learned after that victory. And they were certain of it. And send a powerful signal to the Hispanic community, the GOP did.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime.
Look how much younger he looks. Like,
listen to how much, like, what he's saying is insane.
yeah,
But
the way he's saying it.
it's coherent.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he hasn't gone
gosh.
off on a tangent or talking
guess it
about
was-
a dead golfer's cock.
But it was 8
But-
years ago, I guess. I mean, like, I look very different 8 years ago as well, but yeah, it's striking the difference.
They're rapists.
Which apparently was the winning message. And that taught Democrats in 2016 what?
Maybe what the Democrats will be looking for is somebody with some inside experience, but who's a generation younger.
It's obviously going to be younger. It's going to be from a new generation.
Need I say it?
With great honor and humility, I accept this nomination.
And that turned out to be a winning message again, which led to an insurrection. And the lesson from that was,
when Donald Trump leaves office on Wednesday morning, he will leave Washington a pariah. Donald Trump will never be allowed to set foot in the Capitol again. Never.
Fucking hell.
ever. My point is this. But this isn't the end. I promise you, this is not the end. And we have to regroup, and we have to continue to fight and continue to work day in and day out to create the better society for our children, for this world, for this country, that we know is possible. It's possible.
But the problem is, not to be a Debbie Downer on what John Stewart just said, is that kind of message happened after Bush won. That kind of message happened after Trump won. Happens every time. And this is the thing we talked about the other day. The American system needs to be burnt to the ground. Maybe Trump is the way that that happens, because this whole system they've got set up and how they vote and how the party with fewer votes can be the one that wins the presidency, and the gerrymandering they do to allow, you know, a more Republican county to be formed out of a bigger state to help them win. It is rooted. Now, there's no perfect system, but theirs is particularly rooted. I don't want to say it'll be a good thing if the whole country falls over, but maybe Trump will be that, and maybe they'll get to start from the ground up on some level. This does feel like the end of an empire. Like, this does feel Rome has fallen a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like like we're at the part of a history book where it goes causes and factors that lead up to devastating world event.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, there's not too much else we've got to say about tonight. We didn't really have a lot of stuff organized. We thought we'd just have a look at what happened and what went around. Maybe what I'll do, maybe we should do this. Where's Brian? Brian! There's Brian. That wasn't the note. Let's have a look. This is, because I missed this. Brian Tyler Cohen was on air for 8.5 hours today.
Jesus Christ. Does he have a catheter in? Is that how that works?
I think I just leave. And this is how and when he announced the winner. So let's have a look at how he said it. I haven't actually seen this. I just know this is the right time.
Okay. Decision Desk HQ projects that Donald Trump has won Pennsylvania, and that will give him enough votes to become the next president. So that's where we're at right now. As far as the results that we have, it looks like Donald Trump has been elected the 47th president of the United States. That is from both Fox and Decision Desk HQ.
Damn.
He's just reading through to get it from anybody else. So
Democrats have also won the Senate. And it all
he said Democrats have won the Senate.
Things are looking in the House.
Didn't he?
Also,
Yeah, that's what he said.
Democrats have also won the Senate.
I think it means Republicans.
And it all remains to be seen how things are looking in the House.
Yeah. So anyway, that was how it was announced.
Definitely won the Senate, 51-42.
Yeah. So he just misspoke then.
Because he's been on air for 8.5 hours.
Yeah, that's true. But he's had 5 million views, so he's made $10,000 from that stream. So it's kind of worth it. The last thing to probably possibly say, in all seriousness, is this is a democratic process, no matter how messed up it seems to us and how anyone could vote for that person. But the people have. He is the legitimate next president of the United States, and he should be congratulated for winning. I mean, when I say he hasn't done anything wrong, he hasn't done anything necessarily illegal to win. He's done lots of wrong things to win, how he's spoken and what he's done and who he's blamed. But actually, he won. They voted. This is what happens in these elections. And now it's time to move on. So congratulations to Donald Trump and to his team. I don't understand how you did it, but you did it. I don't understand. It's like, so Fiji finally beat the All Blacks. What? I don't know how it happened, but it happened. It's not really fair because it wasn't that kind of lopsided. I heard that Kamala wasn't taken to the stage tonight and wasn't going to concede tonight. Now, I hope she concedes as early as possible. I kind of wish she had done it tonight, because what does have to happen now is with that resistance of moving forward, there also does have to be, you have to do the right thing, which is congratulations and concede. But the resistance for what happens next needs to be a part of that. But you do need to start this off in the right way. And people who are saying that it's surprised that Kamala has not conceded, she will. It's Donald Trump who wouldn't do that for 4 years. Kamala Harris will concede. And there is a technicality, well, there certainly was when we started the show. And I'm not saying this like fingers crossed, people. There is still technically a technicality where she could still win. It's not going to happen. So I guess it's fair enough to wait until it's 100% and then she will concede. And then guess what? If he's still alive, Joe Biden and her will be at the inauguration like Donald Trump wouldn't do. And guess what? Joe Biden and her will make it abundantly clear that there is to be no violence, certainly none in their names. And, you can't control the population, but they will do that. And they will do what you're supposed to do when you lose an election, not for the man, right? Not for Donald Trump, but they will do that for the office of the presidency, the things that Donald Trump couldn't do when he chucked his toys and stormed off. They will do the right thing. And then America, you've got the government you deserve, mate. We'll see you in 4 years. And Sam, if you're watching, remember, we've got a spare room. More than welcome. What about you, Chewy? Anything you want to say?
It's going to be a hard 4 years to go through. Like I think, yeah, if he follows through on half of the things that he said, it's going to be very, very difficult for Americans. Like I've spoken about the foreign policy stuff. I've spoken about Ukraine and Gaza. I think any country that does trade with the US, Trump clearly doesn't understand what a tariff is,
Yeah.
but he stuck to his guns on that all the way through. And if someone
Yeah.
can't convince him that he is speaking about something he clearly does not understand, and we're absolutely not going to do it. Think about a trading nation like New Zealand having to cope with a 20% tariff on all of our goods.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat was going, yeah, but he won't do that to his friends. Are we his friend?
You're not his friends.
Are we? Is
of course
Luxembourg
not.
good enough to suck up to that? Does he even know where New Zealand is on a map? Does he know what a map is? It's going to be a fucking zoo for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
America might survive. It might limp on. I think, like I said, this is going to be in a section in a book somewhere, causes and conditions that led up to the fall of the US. Maybe in my lifetime. Maybe.
Yep. Yep. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. So I'll say it again. You can congratulate him and his team for the win tonight. The next 4 years are going to be terrifying. And if you're rejoicing his win tonight and thinking it's going to be amazing, I'm sorry, dudes. It's like Luxon. We told you before the election what would happen. We told you how they'd screw over certain sectors of society, and it's exactly what they're doing. It's the same for Trump. It's the same for Trump. Just think about things like women's right to choose or bodily autonomy. They've got the Senate, the House, and the White House, and the Supreme Court. Here comes a nationwide abortion ban. Then they'll be coming after IVF. Then they'll be coming after gay marriage. My dudes, celebrating tonight. Sure, you got your win. You got the knockout tonight. The next 4 years are going to be a nightmare.
Look, I can judge him on his supporters in the chat tonight. Like the amount of people that have shown an astounding lack of grace. Like there are pro-Trump people that are still in the chat. Yes, they're annoying other people in the chat, but they're at least being somewhat coherent and somewhat respectful to other people in the chat. And then there are the people that have come in and poked Trump 2024, cope and seethe, fuck you, and they've gone. Like, and that's what it's going to be like in real life as well. Comment sections and
sure.
God, Twitter is going to be a fucking open sewer. Ugh. It's going to be bad. We're lucky. We don't live in America, and we have faces and genders that will be fine if we did live in America. But there are people that don't look like us.
Yeah.
That it is going to be very, very bad for. And my thoughts are with them.